What is up, guys? Jeff here for One Fish, Two Fish. We are back with another edition of One Fish, Two Fish Explains, where we go through some very common stuff that we get asked at the store, just different situations that we see a lot that we just want to make public so you guys have an idea on maybe why you get answers sometimes that don't make a lot of sense, or it doesn't get explained well enough to give you guys the thought of why we're actually doing some of the stuff we're doing. So today we're going to talk about something that I very, very much dislike. I was actually not even going to do the video based on how cranky I will likely get while doing it. That is how much I hate it. I've seen a couple of different spots in a couple of different countries where I've been, where they actually are bred, and it is just a horror show. Today we are going to talk about feeder fish and why we will not sell them, why we haven't sold them in well over 5 years, and why you're actually seeing a lot of actual just aquarium stores, just aquatic stores, not stock them, not bring them in. They are a very easy money maker. People will buy, 10 at a time once a week. It's a very easy money maker. They're extremely cheap for us to buy. Right now it would be a little different, obviously, because of the shipping. The shipping over the last year, year has like doubled. So the shipping would be a lot more money on it. But back in the day, we can buy these fish very, very cheap. We're talking cents minus some shipping, but why we just refuse to make money off it, and why you should understand what you're doing when you are feeding your fish. So let's real quick. This tank is a prime example. These are extra large. Extra large in our store. They're not actually extra large. They do get much bigger than this. These are red belly piranhas. There is 5 of them in there, you can see. Maybe there's 4 of them in there. I thought there was 5. I'm seeing 4. Anyway, there's 4 of them. These fish came from a customer. They were dropped off. And I get the appeal to it. Full disclosure, back in the day, I had and back in the very long day, I'm talking 20 plus years ago, I had a 90-gallon tank. That was filled with monsters. It just had a bunch of big fish. It was, and again, this was quite a while ago, so I don't remember exactly what I had in there. I had Oscars, I had Jack Dempsey's, I had just big fish that got along with each other. They probably shouldn't have got along with each other as well as they did, but they did get along, and they lived in the tank and they were fine. So, because I believe in being honest with you guys, I'm going to tell you what we used to do, and it's horrible. If somebody said this to me now, I would probably be very cranky, but back in the day, we used to go to, this was, like I said, 20 years ago, Walmart actually sold fish. They would always bring in very, very cheap comets, cheap guppy fish, just feeder fish. Me and a group of friends would go there. We would buy 5 each. We would also all buy a case of beer. We would put all the fish in at the same time, and we would time how long it would take my tank to eat all of the fish. Whoever lost had to buy the beer. Horrible game. Horrible game. If somebody told me that today, I would see so many things wrong with it. But that is what we did, and we used to do it every weekend. We did it all the time. So we fed my fish these guppies, usually it is comets that we would feed, just very, very, very tiny goldfish. And they just call them feeder fish. That's how they're sold, that's how they're bought, that's their cause, that's what they're bred for. Until about 2 months after doing it, my entire tank, which I had never dealt with a problem in, which I probably should have. I would have had nitrates in the tank. I didn't know what nitrates were back then. I would have had levels in that tank for sure because of the amount of fish I had in it. It was certainly overstocked for a 90-gallon tank. But I didn't really see anything. Nothing to the eye looked bad. They all looked happy. They all ate every day. They all swam around. They were active. So to the untrained eye, they were fine. Until about 2 months after we were doing this, all of my fish started to get very sick. And I couldn't understand why. One day, about 2 months in, I just happened to be in the store where they were bringing in these guppy fish, and I seen the bags they came in. They had 4 big bags of the feeder fish that they were doing. 2 of the big bags were just mush. they were so far gone there wasn't even fish. It was just mush. The fish were so dead. And that was fine. Threw 2 bags out, took the other 2 bags, dumped them right in the tank. And then that night, me and my friends would have went in. We would have bought 5 each, which, anywhere between 15 and 30 fish. We would have taken them home and we would have dumped them right into my tank and let my fish eat them. You can now see the problem here. These are the most unhealthy fish you can buy. There's no attention, there is no love put into these fish. They are 100%, they are bred to be fed to other fish. Just understand, now I get, and I'm not even against you feeding, say, piranhas, which very much do not need to eat live fish, feeding Oscars. Big Oscars have big mouths. I get the appeal to wanting to watch the fish go up and just gobble something up. I get it. I don't even have a problem with it. It happens in the wild. That's how these fish eat in the wild. It's not an uncommon practice. I get it. It makes sense to me. I get it. Understand this. Understand that what you are giving your fish is the most unhealthy food you can give. There is every chance on the planet that these little fish that you're feeding have got some type of disease. They're not quarantined. They're not anything. They're not bred usually. Now this isn't obviously across the board because I haven't seen all of these spots where they're breeding them, but the one that I did see was a horror show. There would be 500,000 fish there. There would be 1,000 of them dead, still in the tank, is still floating around, and really nobody seemed to care about the dead. So just buyer beware when you are looking to feed your monsters. And usually people do this because they love their fish. They think this is what the fish wants to eat. 9 times out of 10, you can get away. You can train almost any fish. Now, I know some are tough, but one of the staff here actually has a little frogfish. He's the cutest, ugly fish you'll ever see. He just won't touch anything. He will not eat anything. All he likes is life. In the wild, he's a predator. That's what he does. He'll sit in a rock. He won't move. Something goes by. The big mouth opens and boom. But what they do is they actually breed their own fish for this purpose. There's no health issues. The fish are, this is what they're able to watch and make sure the health of what they're feeding their fish is good, is healthy. They actually run it through a quarantine beforehand. So just buyer beware when you are looking to feed your very nice, we could dump in this tank and, and again, like I said, full disclosure, I'm not against it because it would be cool to watch them hunt. Look at the size of these guys. Look at the size of these big sharks. Look at the size of these Oscars. There is a Bashir in here that we've shown you guys before because he's a bit of an idiot that hides over in that corner, and he hunts. He has already done it. He has picked off a school of tiger barbs that were in here. Obviously not the size of these guys, but I get the appeal to it. But understand that before I would do that, if I would do that, and I certainly wouldn't, but if I was going to, I would put these fish through a 1-month quarantine. For sure. I would make sure that what I was feeding our beloved monsters, I would make sure that I knew what kind of food it was. I would make sure that that there was no disease. I would make sure that the guppies or the comets or the whatever we were going to put in. And again, I keep talking like we're going to. We're never ever going to. There's no need to make comments that you'd like to see that because we will never do it. But we would make sure that we knew what we were giving our pets because that's what this tank is. They are our pets. We love these fish. It is certainly the most looked at tank in the store by a lot. Everybody that comes in stares at this thing. We have kids come in and just stare at it. So we love this tank very much. So the moral of the story, just buyer beware when you are looking to feed your fish. If you've got, I know lionfish, it's very cool to watch the meat, but lionfish can be trained to get off of live. I don't want to say very easy because we kind of know how to do it, but it's really not that hard. You can train most fish to get off eating alive. A really easy trick If you've got something that just eats live food, a real easy trick: take a little very thin fishing line, tie something onto it, a little piece of shrimp or a little piece of something you think he might like. Fresh seafood is usually the best. Put it on and just dab it like this in through the water. Make it look like it's live. More often than not, you can trick them into thinking. And don't think that your fish need to eat every day. Fish are not stupid. If they are hungry enough, they're going to accept more food from you. If all they're used to is live, those piranhas, they were a week before we could get them to touch anything. They just did not want food. They have eaten live their whole life. That's what they were used to. Food to them was a bag of dumped in goldfish that they kicked the crap out of. Those fish are not near as mean as they have to. They do that because they're hungry and they've got to eat, and that's what they've been used to. We have those guys eating almost anything now, but nothing live. Everything is just sort of prepared food that we do. So the moral of the story, guys, just make sure when you are feeding your pets, I know you guys love this stuff, I know you guys love your fish, make sure when you're feeding your fish, just like you do yourself, you wouldn't eat something that was very mistreated, so don't feed it to your fish. Thanks guys for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.